Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined by the former BYU Cougar, Bryan Kehl. Bryan, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
We are doing well. I am so curious. We're getting so close to football. You played and you heard coaches talk, and now you're all done playing and you hear coaches talk. And there should be a lot of positivity around BYU. They won a lot of games last year and they got a lot of players back. But I wonder if this time of year you're 80% in on the positivity, 90%, 100%. Where are you?
Honestly, it's kind of a weird situation. I have higher expectations than I don't even know. I don't know the last time I've had such high expectations, and it's just a result of winning. You know, we've won a lot of games the last 2 years, and like you just said, we got a lot of players back. So it's like you look at where we were last year and the year before, and then you look at this year and you're like, okay, well, that guy's back. We're better at this position. We're better at it. You just kind of start to drink the Kool-Aid. And, you know, I've always enjoyed that nice blue Kool-Aid. So I'm all in, man. My expectations they're to the moon.
You've been around a lot of coaches during your time as a player, from youth ball all the way up to the NFL. And BYU's got a new defensive coordinator in Kelly Poppinga taking over for Jay Hill, who was wildly successful. Based on your knowledge, what makes a coordinator be good?
Yeah, there's so many things, and it goes beyond just understanding the X's and O's and understanding football, because that's obviously a huge component of it. But then if you're a play calling coordinator, which most are, there's this whole other element, which is just being cool and calm when the bullets are flying, and being able to think clearly and strategize on your feet very quickly and respond to what your opponent is calling. And so it's not just, you know, creating a good defense, an effective defense or offense or whatever it may be, but it's also it's in the moment when the game circumstances dictate it, being able to dial up what your team needs on that play, that down and distance, that spot on the field, and that's really the X factor that separates the average from the good to the great. And the great ones, they have that X factor. So for K-Pop, who's, you know, one of my great friends and teammates, and I have great expectations for him, there's no doubt in my mind that he knows all the X's and O's. He understands it. He's crafted a great defense. The only thing that's, for me and for any of us, that's to be seen is can you dial up the right call on the down and distance at the time in the game. So that's the only thing that's kind of an unknown, and him being a first time, you know, play caller, that's where it'll be interesting to see. But as far as knowing football, there's no question there. He knows his stuff. We'll just see it. I just hope that he can call it and dial it up at the right time.
Now, as you get older and you watch more film and you've been through more situations, you're bound to have your own opinions. Have you ever been in the huddle and the play call comes in, you go, oh, that's stupid, they're going to pick up a first down here. Or the play call comes in and, this is brilliant, they have no chance.
Absolutely. 100% absolutely. And, I mean, we'll just go back to, you know, playing with K-Pop. Our senior year, we were in Provo. We were playing TCU. They were really good at the time. We were really good. And it was a close game. It was a Thursday night game, close game. And Bronco, he was not, at that point in time, was not super aggressive. We played a bend but don't break kind of style of defense, right? This was 2007. And we had scored to go ahead, and I don't remember how much time was left in the game, but it was fourth quarter, not like last minute, but, you know, middle of the fourth quarter. Like, we needed to get a stop. And we played like a conservative, you know, every play that came in was a conservative, just playing coverage. And every time we're just like, come on. And sure enough, TCU went down the field and scored. And then we got the ball back and we scored. And then now it was like crunch time. Like there's very little time left in the game. And, if they go down and score, they're probably going to win. And this time around, Bronco calls 4 straight blitzes. I'll never forget this because we were all just like, see, you trusted us. And, we delivered. He called 4 straight blitzes. And we had like an incompletion, a 2-yard gain, and 2 sacks. And it was 4 and out, game over. And it was just, there's a lot more that goes into it. But to answer your question, yes, there are times where the play comes in and the guys are rolling their eyes like, come on, dude.
I thought you'd give us an answer like that, and I love the specifics, Bryan. That was great.
Talking with Kelly, he'll just recite where this defense came from, and he goes back to Kyle Whittingham's father, Big Fred, who did coach at BYU, also obviously coached in the NFL and at Utah, and how it's been passed down. So the guy has never been a defensive coordinator, but yet has had extensive training, and the lineage is really strong. So what do you think he's going to do in terms of being aggressive at the right time? Because it turns out that Bronco was aggressive at the right time under your circumstances, as you just explained to us.
He was. And Bronco's a phenomenal coach. And honestly, he understood our personnel at the time. And we were limited in the back end. And so being aggressive was a roll of the dice, okay? So now look at BYU right now. Look at BYU's personnel. And, I was talking to someone about this the other day, not just in football, but in basketball, but every sport, the major sport. You look at BYU, just the personnel, there is more team speed and athleticism than they've ever had. And that's not debatable. That's not just opinion. Like, that is absolutely quantifiable fact.
Yep.
Okay. They have more athleticism, more team speed than they've ever had. So in the context of defense and calling a defense and a coordinator and how aggressive can you be, speed is a great equalizer, and it is a great redeemer, because if you get beat and you have that extra gear, you can catch up. If you're out of position and you have, that elite speed, you can get back into position, and it gives a coordinator a lot of ability, a lot of freedom to call stuff that if they don't have that, then they're not able to call it. And so, yeah, I expect Kelly to be very aggressive, and I think he's picked up, and the conversations I've had with him and that I've just heard him, to the media, to other people, is he's picked up little nuggets from everywhere he's gone. And that's who he is. Like, that's the type of guy he is. Like, he's the guy with the notepad paying attention. And, oh, okay, yeah, I like that. And writes it down. And he's always been that way. And so I just fully expect him to have picked up all the little nuggets from all his stops and everyone that's influenced him. And then now, like we just said, the question is, can you call it at the right moment and the right time and put that part of it together? But I do expect him to be aggressive.
Back in the day, when, as you point out, there wasn't as much athletic ability, you obviously had NFL players, and you played in the league, I think 5 years, maybe 6, and you played with David Nixon. I think he played 3 years in the NFL. So you had NFL guys, and NFL guys at other positions too. But how big was the drop-off with the depth, and what do you think now of the second string? So either you rotate guys and keep them fresh, or if you have injuries, guys can step up and still play at a high level. Do you see a big difference between now and then?
Yeah, there is. And that's really what helps you sustain through a whole season of pounding in a conference like the Big 12. Because football, it's 100% injury rate. Like, if you play football for any amount of time, like, you're going to get something, right? And it's just college football and NFL football. It is just a brutal game. There's going to be injuries. What does your depth look like? Going back to the historical BYU teams, yeah, the starting lineups were really, really great. Like, quality players, NFL guys, like you said. And the fault there just didn't have the depth. And so, you look at seasons where the injury bug just really nipped us, and it just, you just can't sustain the performance with the reserves. And now with the way the program's gotten itself, the depth is so much better. And sometimes, there might be a young guy who might be more talented that comes in, inexperienced and young, but maybe more talented. And in fact, I remember I went to this team event a year ago before the season and was sitting there talking to Jay Hill, and he was telling me about some young guys that he was like through the roof on because they were so talented, like very young and inexperienced and still need to learn football. But as far as talent, though, better than guys that were older than them. And so that's something that's new. That's a new thing for BYU. We've never had that. And so it is a great result of the resources that they put in place and being in a Big 12 and all of those things.
All right, that leads me right into my next thought with you. The last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of commotion and an apparent disconnect between Kalani Sitake and what he says is basically owed to him, not personally, but to the program, versus what the administration or the athletic director is willing to give, whatever it might be. So you can comment on that if you want, but my thought for you is, we talk about no distractions. What are your thoughts on this being a potential distraction? It seems like that Kalani's been able to insulate the team from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be said about that, and so much that I would say and I won't say on the air and all that stuff. And I don't even know all the details. I hear things, and I'm not involved officially anywhere down there, so I'm not privy to all the details and all the particulars. I just have my opinions and what based off of what I hear. And I'm a football guy. I'm biased. Like, football is amazing, and the resources should and have been given to football. And it's been cool to see in the last couple of years how the decision makers, whether that's in Provo or in Salt Lake, in regards to BYU and using resources, not just dollars, but time and priority. So resources, whatever they may be, that they've been unlocked a bit in the last couple of years, and hopefully they continue to be unlocked. And then with that, it's just cool as a lifelong BYU fan to see the sports have success directly correlated to those resources. And, all the Olympic sports have just dominated forever at BYU. They've been great, and that's been fantastic, and there's a lot of pride in that. And then, of course, the last couple of years there's been tremendous success for football and basketball, and I hope that continues. I'm not privy to all the details, but I want it all, man. I want us to use the resources. I want Kalani to be happy. I want Kevin Young to be happy. I want the brass upstairs to be happy, and I want us to just go win. And so whatever that looks like, whatever it takes to get there, let's just go do it. That's where I'm at with it.
I think Kalani has a lot of momentum and a lot of power in this discussion because they've won double-digit games 4 times in 6 years, and they've had some really different problems thrown at them, and they've overcome them on the way to those 10, 11, 12-win seasons, whatever they were. The 2 years they didn't get there, they had quarterback injuries. But overcoming COVID, losing the number 1 pick in the draft, you think you're going to have a senior quarterback, suddenly have a freshman starter who wasn't at spring ball. He's overcome a lot. Having said all that, do you expect it'll be 5 out of 7?
I do. And here's the thing. You look, I think BYU and Utah fans I don't think they realize how good they've had it. You look at Kyle Whittingham he's one of the finest football coaches in the country. And that's been proved by the fact that a blue blood of the blue bloods just came and snatched him. Right. And so Utah's been blessed. And honestly, they did not know how good they had it for a lot of years. And some of them do, but absolutely blessed. He's just an outstanding football coach, and I expect Michigan to dominate. Okay, now for Kalani, there's a lot of BYU fans that do not know how good they have it. Kalani is a special guy, and that's proven by the fact that Penn State almost coached him, and the only reason they did it is because Kalani, like me, is true blue through and through, lifelong fan, grew up, dreams, all that stuff. That's the only, it's not dollar. There's no other reason. The only reason that they were able to hold on to him was because at the end of the day, he wants to be at BYU. He's a BYU guy. But all that being said, like, there's a lot of people, fans, pundits, you name it, that just they don't understand how special of a person and a coach he is, and he really is. And it's not, I don't blow smoke. You guys know how I am. I call balls and strikes, and they're both. He's just a phenomenal coach. And so, yes, I do expect them to go do it again this year. I think he does more with less than most coaches in the country, and even, whatever complaints or whatever, resources that aren't being allocated or any of that aside, like, he's going to go produce, and I expect him to do it again this year because he rallies the troops, man. He's the type of coach that, it's cliche, but it's true. He's the type of coach that guys just like, I'll run through a wall for that guy. And that's how the players in that locker room are. And so they're going to go perform for him. And I expect that again this year.
Yeah, I see no reason. I mean, I think that's well said, and you do call balls and strikes as you see them, and you've been that way since you were a player for sure. It's just in your personality and your DNA to be able to say what you feel, and you do it very well. So I think you encapsulize, if that's a word, some fancy word probably over my head, that the essence of the program stems from the coach, and it starts from there, and it goes all the way down, and this program is in a good spot largely because of him. I don't know that there's any other way to say it.
I agree. Like, and that's, people that don't know the details or just understand, like, they just don't understand where we would be with some other coaching and he made some comments recently about how much he appreciates Broughton and Bronco and Lavelle now more than before, because now he understands what they were dealing with. The combination of expectations coupled with restrictions that are put in place to be the football coach or whatever coach at BYU. And it's just a unique situation. It's a unique institution, which I love and I'm all for, but it comes with it some different parameters. And, in a lot of ways you're playing down, you're playing with a hand behind your back. You're expected to go compete with higher restrictions or rules and all that stuff, and he does it. And he's just special, man. I love the guy.
He is dealing with restrictions that are not dealt with at other schools, to be sure. But is this another case where you look back 20 years and think you're seeing more tats, more earrings, more long hair? I don't know. You probably got better examples than I do. If you see things,
no, I have. You know what? I have noticed that, and that's a whole topic for another thing. And what's interesting, there's members of the church that are listening out there. It's kind of interesting. I was just on that subject. I looked at something just the other day in the handbook because I was wondering, like, what have they changed the stance on tattoos, and the wording is different now than it used to be. And it's not. It's just there's some things that are different. They're not. It's not as black and white. Hard lines. It's just some relaxing of the phraseology, if you will. And so, you do see more of that stuff on campus and more of that in church on Sunday, which is, we want to have a big tent and everybody's invited and everybody's involved. And I think that's great.
Bryan, we'll leave it right there for now, but we will get back to you in their games and see what you think of the way they're shaking out. How about that?
I can't wait, man.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
We appreciate you coming on. Thanks, Bryan.
Yep, you bet.
Bryan Kehl, former BYU, and I'd mention a few NFL teams, I think most prominently the New York Giants.
Giants and Rams, I think, were the two.